Melissa, I want to know your best and worst customer service experiences. But more specifically, I want to know, has there been a time that you ordered something, whether it be from a store online or a restaurant or fast food, and they have like bafflingly messed up your order?
I
Like sometimes just being like, oh man, they still put the pickles on, even though I asked for no pickles. That happens, right? But has there been a time where it's just like, huh? Why? Why did they do this? How did they come to this outcome?
I have just gone through quite a trial with Pizza Hut, who I don't like to speak ill of, because you know I come from a Pizza Hut dynasty.
Okay.
I'd ordered a pizza about a month ago, and it was slightly delayed. And to make up for it, they sent me a coupon code for a free large pizza. And I was pleasantly surprised, because the order wasn't even that late. And this wasn't one of the times where they try and make good by giving you a coupon code, but the coupon code is such limited availability that it's like only available in the next 48 hours. And you're like, I'm not ready for another pizza yet. It was ready. It was available for a whole month. So this week I tried to use my coupon code for a free pizza. And none of my local stores would accept the coupon code. I tried the app. I tried the website. I typed it in, I pasted it in, and they all said, code not available. We don't honor it at this location. So I try to contact Pizza Hut. They ask you all of these questions, and they ask you one question at a time. And then if you don't respond for 1 minute, they close the chat. Like, well, you're unresponsive. Moving on.
Right. Yeah.
And the code was going to expire the next day. So I'm like, I am using it while it is still active. And Pizza Hut kept saying, we're going to escalate a case about this, and we'll get back to you in 2 to 5 business days about why the code isn't working. And I'm like, you can't do that, because then the code will have expired. So you're wasting both of our time here. And I could not get any clear answer. They're like, we're going to send this up the chain. I'm like, you said I could have a free pizza. Why can't I have my free pizza? I know you must have some other code that works. Just give me that, and then I'll be out of your hair.
Yeah, or just tell the store to send me a free one. Like, try to use it now. Yeah, I've had stuff like that where you are chatting with them online, and if you don't respond within like 30 seconds, they're just like, all right, done. It's like, I was looking up the information you asked for. Like, what?
Right, and all of these are chat functions within a web browser that take up a weird amount of space, and you can't see what you're typing.
Right. Yeah.
None of them are streamlined. And I think that's part of it. They're like, we're going to give you the most cumbersome interface. We're going to ask you one question at a time, keep stringing you along. Like, can you give us the address? Can you give us the phone number? Yeah. Can you give us the pizza toppings you requested? And I think they hope that you just give up before they have to give you the free pizza. But on principle, I kept insisting. And this was like Tuesday, and I never heard back from them. So I am going to email them tomorrow. And like,
you're like, hey,
look, I don't care. But if you said I could get this, you do have to be able to honor that in some fashion. I didn't make you say you could give me a free pizza because my last one was 5 minutes late. You said that. You volunteered. So if you started this, you do have to finish this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it might be that they send you even more of like, oh, here's 2 or 3 codes since, the one expired and so on and so forth. But yeah, that can be frustrating. It's frustrating even in just the system they work in. Oftentimes, like you started to point out, like I've had experiences where every, like when something gets escalated, every time it's a new person. And so they then ask like, okay, so what's the issue here? It's like, well, if this has been escalated, you should know what the issue is. And also, you're on the same email chain. You can read the stuff that's right there before. I don't have to explain myself multiple times. It's right there. That stuff always gets me. But I bought some groceries from Walmart this past weekend. Rachel's been busy, so she's been off handling some family stuff, and so instead of our normal Saturday morning trip to the grocery store, I was like, okay, well, I need to order some groceries before we run out here. So where I currently live right now, I can't get it through Amazon, which is what I used to do during the pandemic when I lived in Richmond. So I bought it through Walmart, and they do a thing where you don't get like it will come at a certain time of the day, but you don't really get to pick what time of day it comes. It'll give you a window of like it should be here between like 8 and 10 p.m. Right. And unless you're like a member with them and you have Walmart Plus or what have you. And so my groceries got delivered, and I'm picking up the bags and I'm bringing them inside. I say thank you to the drivers. And I start putting the groceries away, and I start realizing like, I think I'm missing something. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have this thing. And I forget exactly what it was, but I start to like do an inventory of all the stuff I have. Melissa, I was missing more than half of my order. It's not that I was just missing one thing. I was missing the majority of it.
We get Walmart groceries delivered every Monday morning at my office, just for our office goods like milk, bagels, coffee creamer, etc. And we turn off substitutions because if something's out, they want to confirm with you, is it okay if we give you this kind of coffee creamer? And it's our weekend. We put the order in on Friday afternoon. We're like, don't bother us over the weekend. Just if you don't have it, you don't have it. So we do get orders on Monday morning with very many holes in them.
Yeah. And that was not the case that was happening here. There were some things that I was like, hey, if you don't have this, it's okay if you substitute it with something else. And that I don't mind all that much. There are certain things that I'm just like, if you don't have this, it's fine. But this was not that. It was like, hey, we're out of this item or something. It was just, it never showed up. They charged me, but it just never came. So I tried to go in the app and like be like, hey, this one item was moldy and I'm missing like half of my thing. Here's all the things. And it had me like list them out one by one and leave a note to be like, what was wrong with this thing? So I kept having to be like, didn't get, like, not here. And then I submit the thing and it says, yeah, we can't submit that. So I was like, huh? I was like, what? Like, this is how you request a refund or let you know. And there was no answer on like why it couldn't be submitted. I'm assuming it was just because I had so many items that weren't in there. It was just like, this is too much, man. You're going to need to call. So I did. I called the customer service. And yeah, having to explain it and go through a list of like 20 things that I did not get was kind of wild. They eventually refunded me and stuff like that. It was all okay, but still, it was just like, this is so weird. And I think what happened is the drivers just didn't pick everything up from the store. Like all my stuff was sitting out there, and maybe there was a small separation in like here's my whole thing, but there's a small gap between these two bags. So they thought it was only like this side of it or something. But yeah, they just did not get half of it. And I was like, what is happening here?
They also give you an uncomfortable amount of bags.
Yes.
Like they put everything in their own individual bag.
Per bag. It's ridiculous.
And I've thought of going to my bosses, like, I don't care how much you say my billable hours are and where you want me to spend my time. I have to go I am going to Walmart now just to save us on bags. bags have started to weigh so much on my conscience. Like, if I use one more bag than necessary, I think I'm going to hell, and I don't want to go to hell. So can I just go to Walmart personally, please?
They left out a specific circle in hell that Dante didn't know about yet, because they didn't have plastic bags then. Yeah,
right. Because it's right. It was yet to come.
Yeah,
they've made new ones, and it's the allows too many plastic bags to be used. I didn't even do it myself, but merely by placing a Walmart grocery order, I've invoked excessive plastic bags, and for this I shall be punished.
Now, I did have a good experience also with
That's good
Walmart
to hear.
Recently. Also, this past weekend, too. I had multiple things. So I got my Switch 2, the new Nintendo Switch, and I bought it through Walmart. And with that, they delivered some free snacks.
Did you get to pick these, or was it a surprise?
No, this was a surprise to everyone. Like, everyone on social media was just like, hey, Walmart just sent me some snacks with my Switch. This is awesome. And it was not like a paid promotion from Coca-Cola or anything like that. Apparently, Walmart just wanted people to have a good time. So they're like, yeah, just give them some soda and chips, right? Which maybe has its own issues of what Walmart thinks of gay gamers and stuff like that, right? But still, I was like,
have you seen the meme? I don't know if it's prevalent enough to be called a meme. It's merely an image that exists online of a bin at a grocery store with the sign, "Jeff ordered too many hams sale."
I have not.
It's probably just one of those. Jeff ordered too many potato chips sale attached to your Switch.
Right, yeah. But yeah, so I got a Coke and some pizza flavored Pringles. And it came in not a plastic bag, but they're like reusable Walmart bag. Yeah. So just like completely different experience from then, like the next night when I had to order groceries. But yeah, that was a good experience that I was not expecting. It was just like, oh, cool, thanks. Like, I like when I get snacks from like GoPuff or something, and they give me an extra, like, here's an extra energy drink, even though it's probably not a great one, or it's from some company that's like some new startup that's like, I don't really know what chemicals are in this thing, but hey, thanks, sweet, right? Caffeine. So I like stuff like that. Have you had a good customer experience?
Oh, I have
Customer
many.
Service?
This is why I like going out into the world. I don't want convenience. I want human connection. I want a person checking me out to like smile at me.
Sure.
I became great friends with all of my Schnucks checkers during lockdown when they were the only humans I could see. My one trip to Schnucks really got to know them. I don't have a specific one that comes to mind, but yes, very many.
It's nice to be able to go to certain stores or certain restaurants and places where like the person who works there knows you. You can get your usual, or it's like, oh, hey, that recipe you mentioned, right? You have that, and they're like, yes, you should get X, Y, and Z. That stuff is always fun. It's neat. Good to have some good human interactions.
Yes.
Indeed.
Let's have a good human interaction on this podcast, Kyle.
Let's do it. Silence afterwards.
Folks, welcome to the Captain's Log, where every episode we thirst for the taste of legend. I'm Melissa, and that's Kyle.
Melissa, where do you want to go next? Do you want to tell me about your opera experience? Do you want to go to our cinema corner? What do you want to do?
I'd love to tell you about the opera. I went to a whole opera for the first time this week.
Sounds fun. Tell me about it.
St. Louis has a thriving opera scene. I went to my first whole show at the Opera Theater of St. Louis.
Cool.
I'd been to another function earlier this year where they had a vocalist perform a couple songs, but this was my first entire show. This theater produces all of their operas in English. They project subtitles on the wall.
Cool.
Because even if it is in English, sometimes those falsettos are so high you can't understand them. So they let you still read every word. And they seek out a lot of new operas. They commission new operas. Kyle, did you know there's still new operas?
No. I mean, I probably could have guessed, but it's not something I think about. Not in a way that, like, I know that new plays are being made and produced and stuff like that. I just don't think about operas in that same way.
It feels like it's frozen in time. Like nobody's made a new one since like 1845, but I assure you, it persists. So this was a show called This House, I believe commissioned by the Opera Theater of St. Louis. This was its world premiere, about multiple generations of a Black family that owns a brownstone in Harlem. And a daughter in the latest generation comes home to the house after a long time away and sort of has to confront the metaphorical and literal ghosts who are there. So it's a supernatural family drama.
Okay.
With
Sounds
just
good.
all of these cast members hanging out on stage all the time. The ghosts are just there constantly. Sometimes they like stop and they act out a scene. And other times they're just chilling in the background, just sitting on the stairs.
Love a good ghost scene.
Right. It's got like a twist in it. It's a very surprising show. It's really not what I ever thought an opera would be. A twisty supernatural family drama. This feels like an extended Netflix series.
Cool. Okay. That sounds fun.
Beautiful stuff. It does kind of hurt your ears if you're not used to opera to listen to opera, because it's just it's just a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like it's the auditory equivalent of just looking at like neon colors all day. So I think I have to acclimate. I'm going to the opera again these next 2 weekends. I'm going to see a couple of their shows.
Cool.
I'm in. Opera. It's pretty fun.
Nice. So was that like when I think of the opera, I still think of like super fancy. Everyone is dressed up to the nines. Like, was that your experience too, or was it a little bit more casual?
It's moderately fancy. We had a dinner beforehand. So it's right now the Opera Theater is hosted at the campus of a local university, and they set out these big pavilion tents out on the campus, and they'll have like pre-show dinners, really nice catered dinners.
Cool.
That was a wonderful surprise how good that was. But I think some people came in like they came in their outdoor clothes. They came in like their breezy sundress. It's not like an old lady with pearls and a fox stole.
Sure. I feel like that is the maybe more casual that I expected, but a nice sundress can be like, that's a good date like outfit, right? Which makes sense.
We are a city that doesn't stand on much ceremony. We're accustomed to things. We're accustomed to the Muni, where it's outdoors in the middle of the summer and you show up wearing whatever you want. Because, it's a nice occasion, but also it's 95
hot.
degrees with 95% humidity and it might rain on you. So, like, we're all stuck in that setting. I did run into one of our office's clients there, and she always shows up to the office in, like, her running around clothes, just like shorts and a t-shirt and a ball cap. So it was very fun getting to see her wearing like a dress.
That's awesome. That's fun.
So one person was relatively dressed to the nines, I could say.
There you go. Do you know what the show is going to be this next weekend that you're going to?
I'm going to go see, I forget which one comes first. I'm going to see Die Fledermaus and Don Pasquale. They're also doing an opera of A Midsummer Night's Dream. I'd like to see if I can fit in. And they already announced their season for next year.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah, I would like to go to the opera one day eventually. I don't think it's necessarily going to be for me, but I want to experience it at least once, just to be like, I've been to an opera. It's fun, you know. I think that's fun.
I'm learning that opera is a lot more multifaceted than you think it is. You will find the opera that is for you. It exists.
Cool. Good stuff.
I also went to Shakespeare in the Park this week.
Mm-hmm.
This was its 25th anniversary. I went to the first ever Shakespeare in the Park they did here, summer of 2000. I overestimated my ability to understand Shakespeare, and it was cold, so we left early. And then my mom had locked her keys in the car, so we had to call my dad and come to the park and pick us up. And while we're just sitting there on the hill at the park, waiting for Dad to come pick us up, I saw like some couple on a picnic blanket really making out, which was the first time I'd ever seen that. And then in
thus
hindsight,
you understood Shakespeare.
That's not Shakespeare. These are my major memories of that night, is just seeing a makeout session. And then I just thought, those people turning around and seeing me at the top of the hill looking at them.
Just staring at him, yeah.
I must have appeared as a ghost, except for that I've never seen, in every like creepy little girl ghost you've ever seen in a horror movie. I know, Kyle, you don't personally watch horror movies, but this is a general you. That's never a fat girl. So I think the fact that I was a little fat girl is the only thing that indicated I was not a ghost. I don't think ghosts are fat typically. But yes, 25 years of Shakespeare in the Park. They brought back that first ever show was Romeo and Juliet, and they had that actress who played Juliet back in the show again this year, which was very special.
Awesome.
They did Hamlet. This was a mid-century modern Mad Men style Hamlet.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. The stage is like a T. It comes out into the audience, and it's not theater in the round, but like there's the stage. They put it just in Shakespeare Glen, a designated part of the park. And you just bring your lawn chairs and blankets and sit all around it, and they'll wander through the audience. The ghost of Hamlet's dad comes wandering out through the audience, and he does a screech. He just screeches at you like he's Donald Sutherland in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is pretty fun. At the end of the stage, there's a big pile of dirt. And this is the grave.
Okay.
This is the grave of Hamlet's father. It's a grave pile of dirt, not like a construction pile of dirt. And it's real dirt. And so the play begins. They throw dirt, they throw flour on the grave of Hamlet's father. And then Hamlet goes mad, as he does. And he goes to the pile of dirt and he's like punching it and picking up handfuls of dirt and throwing it and rolling around in it. And he kind of does a Saltburn.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And then he's covered in dirt for like the next couple scenes.
Amazing.
I had a lot of fun. It started raining, like a very gentle, soft rain, to where they didn't need to clear the stage. They just kept going as normal. And when that happens during an outdoor performance, and there coincidentally is something in the context of the play where Hamlet does look up to the stars, and he's like, look at the firmament above us, and he talks about the natural world. That's one of the best feelings on earth.
Nice.
When a piece of performance invokes the outdoor world and you are there inside it.
Yeah, that's fun. That's cool. I'm glad you got to go experience those things.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really only went to the movies last weekend. That was kind of it. I got to see Friendship, which I am so glad that I did, because this movie was great. Did I talk about this last time?
No,
I don't
I
think
told
I
you about
did.
me going to see Friendship, but you hadn't seen it yet.
I thought so. Yeah. Yeah. So we recently watched I Think You Should Leave over on the review show. This is Tim Robinson's like sketch comedy show. It is just filled with like social anxiety and just awkward scenarios. And I thought it was good, but it's also not necessarily for me. I'm not a big sketch
Mm.
comedy person. And I was kind of like, the one thing that I think would have interested me more was if there was just a sliver of a little bit more narrative between the sketches, like a returning character or something like that. Not even necessarily narrative, but just some through line in each of the seasons. And Friendship was exactly that. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. The movie, it like as a whole, like the elevator pitch of the movie feels like a sketch that would have been in I Think You Should Leave, but they've stretched it out to it be a movie, and they did a really good job doing so. Right, like even the different acts within it feel like they could have been their own sketches, or some of the things feel like they could have been their own sketches, but they don't ever feel like segmented and isolated. It just feels like one cohesive narrative. And it's hilarious. It is so funny. It is so good.
I'm happy you got to see it in a theater. I saw it in a sold out theater, and it was so worth the experience.
We went, it was not the one that was near our house. It was a little further out, but it was like one of the last showings. There was like another day or so of showings. And I was expecting it to be pretty empty. It was pretty full in the air, not like completely packed, but we had a good sized crowd, and a crowd that was very reactive and receptive to the comedy. In a way that like it's like sometimes you see jokes about like people screaming out things in horror movies of like, don't go down that hall, he's behind you, right? Like stuff like that. Like we kind of had that, but for the comedy, like, oh no, he's not about to, oh no, right? Like stuff like that, and it just made for a really good time. There's a certain song that keeps coming up, and by like the like second time it comes up, we had audience members singing along with the song. It was hilarious. I cannot recommend it enough. Go check this out when it's on streaming. And it was really good.
And it's not just funny. I think the aspects of it that are a pseudo-psychological thriller are very well done. It's shot so well. The music is so fitting. It is not just humorously made. It is quite skillfully made on a number of different fronts.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It really does not feel like it's just a sketch comedy skit that they stretched out. It really does feel like they put in the time and effort to like legitimately like, how can we make a movie? And yeah, it was fantastic. So I got to watch that. That was good. Only other thing I've watched recently is a Korean show called The Silent Sea. That's available on Netflix right now. It's only one season. I don't know if it was canceled or not. It doesn't sound like it's getting a season 2. At least it has been quite some time. But you never know these days. But this is a sci-fi kind of psychological thriller, almost a horror. That I was not expecting the horror aspects of it, but they weren't super scary at all. This stars Bae Jonah, who you guys might know from Sense8, as well. What was the recent, the Rebel Moon? She was in that. Zack Snyder. She's in a number of things. You guys will recognize her. But there was also a couple actors from Squid Game in the theater. The guy that does the game where you have to flip the things. Have you seen Squid Games?
No,
No,
not at all.
Man. Yeah, there's an actor that kind of recruits for the Squid Games, I will say. And he's in this. He's one of the main characters. But this show was surprisingly really good. I was kind of expecting it to be kind of a real low-key sci-fi show. But it's a show where Earth is very quickly running out of water. And so they are sending astronauts out into space to kind of hopefully discover water or something out in other places. And there's a team of astronauts that are sent to the moon to receive a sample of something. They don't know what it is. They're not allowed to know. All they know is that this will probably save Earth somehow. And they crash land on the moon where this base is, and they are stuck on this base. And not everything is as it seems on this moon base here, where just 5 years ago, all the inhabitants of the base mysteriously died. And the Earth was told that it was a radiation leak, but that might not be the case. And so, yeah, I had a great time with that. A quick 8 episodes. The thumbs up with that one.
Nice.
That's all. Yeah.
I'd like to run through a number of films I've gone to see in the theater now.
Yes, please.
I went to see Bring Her Back, a new horror movie. This is from the same directors as Talk to Me 2 years ago. You remember Talk to Me with the hand?
And this is side note. I think 2 of the actors that are in both of those movies are also having cameos in Death Stranding 2, a video game that I'm super excited about. That's coming out at the end of this month. Please continue.
Interesting. This is a lot like Talk to Me, which was it's directed by these 2 brothers, these 2 Australian brothers who did a lot of short films for YouTube.
It might be the directors that it's
the Philippou brothers.
Yes, I believe so.
Cool. They seem fun. These 2 movies are a lot like each other. In a way, I don't mind. I think it's very interesting that these new directors are taking this approach to film. They're like, we're going to do a film, and then we're going to continue to hone our skills by doing mostly the same thing again. You think of like a painter being like, I'm going to master bowl of fruit. Here's multiple variations on bowl of fruit. And that's not usually what directors do. Yes,
right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's, I wouldn't even call it repetitive. It's just an interesting, they're two sides of the same coin. Talk to Me and Bring Her Back.
Is that legitimately what they've said they're
I don't know
how their approach is? Because like I'm wondering even if it's like, hey, let's take a similar idea or something, and each one kind of takes it in a different direction, but helps each other on it. And so I don't know. Yeah. Interesting, though. That's fun.
It's very gnarly. A boy tries to eat a table. You wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer and did not like the trailer at all.
You would not. You would not. I'll tell you. The Smile 2 from last year, that is maybe the toughest sit of a horror movie I've seen. It is so tense. When people say nerve shredding, they're talking about Smile 2. So it's an intense one, but all of the content of Smile 2, I think you would really appreciate. If you want to be a brave boy and watch a horror movie, Smile 2. Skip the first Smile. It's fine, but like Smile 2 is the one that's going to align with your tastes. And if you ever watch it, you're going to see why.
You've recommended it to me before.
I saw the Phoenician Scheme. Do you intend to go out and see this one?
I do. I don't know if I'm going to get to it, though, but we shall see. I really want to. It looks fantastic.
I liked it a lot. It is both a little darker and a little sillier than you think it's going to be. I laughed a lot. Good. It's quite funny, but also Benicio del Toro keeps almost dying. And he has these near-death experiences where he's in like a black and white judgment zone where I think I'm going to go if I use too many plastic bags. Yeah. He goes to this place where these gods cast judgment on him. I saw Materialists, which I don't imagine is a movie for you, but I quite liked it.
The rom-com one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not super calm. There's some calm in the beginning. It is a very apt look at the material sides of dating, about turning your matches into these quantifiable numerical things, which I related to maybe a little too hard.
Okay. It spoke to Melissa's soul there.
Right. It spoke to my need to not necessarily have sex or romance, just to have somebody take me somewhere fancy.
Sure. Yeah.
I really saw myself on screen as, please just take me somewhere nice. It's weirdly like The Leftovers.
Interesting. Okay.
Would you like to know why?
Sure.
It opens with cave people.
Uh-huh.
The first ever caveman to woo a cave woman by being like, look, I brought you all these flowers. Look at my bones. And
right. But that guy brought me 3 chickens and a dinosaur, so.
And also the movie ends with them crashing a wedding that none of them were invited to, much like the way The Leftovers ends.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
A fun end credit sequence. One of the most inventive end credit sequences I've seen in a while. Love those.
Good.
And yesterday I saw The Life of Chuck.
I've been hearing good things. I don't know much about what this is, other than I think it's a Stephen King book, and like one not in his normal like horror thriller kind of thing. Is that right?
Well, yes. Stephen King, you remember, is also the author that brought us Stand By Me, The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile. The trailer makes you aware of this. It is in that realm of Stephen King. And it is directed by Mike Flanagan, who did Dr. Sleep and Gerald's Game and a number of horror powerhouses for Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2 masters of horror coming together to do a not horror thing. The Life of Chuck is told in 3 acts, and it starts with this sort of dystopian world where everything that could go wrong is going wrong all at once. Like, there's an earthquake in California falls into the sea, which is very funny that we just watched Superman where Lex Luthor's trying to get that to happen. This is the world where Lex Luthor wins. Like, there's just storms, it's like natural disasters, war, famine, plague, a worldwide internet outage, all of these disasters, and they're just all compounding on each other. And people are looking around saying, this must be the end times. How do we bounce back from that? And what do we do now that it seems like we're in an end times? And as they attempt to go about their lives, still make it to work on time when there's a giant sinkhole that swallowed all of downtown, they see these billboards, these signs, these commercials on TV and on the radio and all over the place. Charles Krantz, congrats on 39 great years. Thanks, Chuck. And there's Tom Hiddleston in his coffee cup smiling at you. And nobody knows who he is. They're all confounded. Who is Chuck? Why is he being thanked? 39 great years of what? That's Act 1. And the next 2 acts explain to you who Chuck is and what his significance is and why he means so much during the end of that world.
Turns out he's Lex Luthor's son, making his father's dream a reality here on this Father's Day that we are recording this podcast. Hope you all had a great Father's Day out there. Thanks, Lex.
Thanks, Daddy Lex. This movie is I wouldn't say corny or cheesy, but I would say schmaltzy, if that distinction means anything to you. It is very good at what it is doing. It is quite sincere. This may be achingly sincere for some audience members. Like, there's some people who were like, I could never eat a cupcake, too much sugar. And we're like, that's a normal cupcake. There's not even like cotton candy and like lollipop stuck on top of it. That's just cake and icing. And the person's like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
It's that.
Interesting.
It's just quite a confection of a film.
That's probably what you need to do if you're someone like Mike Flanagan and don't necessarily want to only be known as the horror guy, or like maybe wants to keep that in his back pocket of like, well, in the cases that I don't want to do something scary, I at least have a portfolio of things that are like, but here I can also do drama or comedy or this or that or whatever this one is.
It is a very sincere personal film. I can tell that this comes from a place of desire and not a place of diversified portfolio.
Well, right. I'm not saying he's only making this to like, I need a diverse portfolio, but just to like not get like stuck in that. Oh, he's only the horror guy and he's only good at that.
Right. Neither is Stephen King only the horror guy. This is a very effective story if you're on its wavelength. And I get that there's people who will not be on this thing's wavelength, but I very much was.
Cool.
It has incredible dance sequences in it.
Nice.
It's not a musical. There's just dancing in it. Dancing is very important. Math is very important. You've seen the trailer for this movie where Mark Hamill talks about the stars.
I actually don't think I have. I've just seen the like marketing.
How'd that happen?
It hasn't been on any of the movies I've gone to go see. I don't really watch enough TV that has commercials on it. So I can like, I see stuff on social media. Like I've seen reactions and the quick, like, here's my, 280 character review of it. Right. And it seems like it's pretty good. Good.
I thought so. In the trailer, Mark Hamill, who plays Little Chuck's grandpa, has this monologue about how the stars will always show you the truth, but they might show you more than you want. They've edited that together. In the movie, he's talking about math. And I guess they thought, nobody wants to see a math movie. Let's change it so he's talking about stars. Which isn't wrong, I suppose. It's just funny after if you've seen the trailer 10 times like
context,
I have.
Yeah.
And then you actually see the movie. It's mostly about accounting. It's mostly about accounting and dance.
Great. Good stuff. Is that all of the movies you've been to see?
That's all the things
recently?
That's all of movie.
There you go. That is our cinema corner for the episode here. Let's take a quick break for housekeeping. When we come back, we got our pop culture lightning round and I guess a little small F1 corner that we'll get to. So we will be right back. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. We hope you're enjoying it. If you didn't know, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and a lot of hard work goes into making them, so we would love it if you check them all out. But none of this is possible without your support. Head over to patreon.com/thewhatnauts and you can get access to over 40 hours of exclusive content, including our Patreon first podcast, The Pilots Club, when you sign up at our $3 tier. Of course, there is a free version of the Pilots Club available, but episodes are exclusive to our Patreon for 2 years before they hit the free feeds. If you're interested in buying merch, we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more for sale over at thewhatnauts.com/store. Another great way to help us out is by subscribing and leaving a nice rating and review on your podcasting app of choice. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for video versions of the show, trailer reactions, and live streams. And lastly, you can always find out more information about the shows we make on our website, thewhatnauts.com. All right, and we are back. Once again, a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. We love you a lot. Thank you. Let's see, over on the Pilots Club, we released our episode on Murder, She Wrote. I was excited to check out this one because it's a show that I've always known by name, but nothing else, at least for me. Like, I did not know anything else about this.
If we put
show.
photos of 10 women in a lineup, would you be able to point and identify the she?
I probably would have, but I wouldn't have known her name. Right? Did not know that that is Angela Lansbury there. But like, oh, I've seen her. I think it's her. That one. Number 2. Right? But yeah, we had a good time talking about that. Go check it out. That is on our Patreon at the $3 tier and above. However, if you are checking out the free feed of the Pilots Club, our episode on Cheers is up for you guys to go check out. I was talking with my parents recently. I've apparently been to the bar that Cheers was filmed in or something like that. So
it was not filmed in a real bar.
Well, I don't know. They say I have been to the bar. So it's Father's Day and my dad said it, so it's true.
Right. Fathers are all right today. Your fathers can tell you anything, and that's the truth.
But yeah, I don't remember that. That was when I was super young. But coming up next month, we are going to be releasing our episode on Cable Girls. This was it's a Spanish, not sitcom. It's like a soap opera-y show about a number of women taking jobs as like an operator, a switchboard operator, and also getting mixed up and involved in some spy stuff and some romance stuff in there too. It's an interesting one. Go check it out. That'll be up next month. Let's see, right here on the Captain's Log, last episode, Melissa, you gave me the big rundown of what there is to do in St. Louis, the places we could potentially go, the places we could potentially eat at, all kinds of things like that, which my trip out to St. Louis to go visit you for episode 300 is quickly approaching. It's about a month away. Not next episode, but the episode after that, obviously, since this is episode 298, and you guys can do math. I think at least we think you can do math. The editors of the trailer of The Life of Chuck think you don't care about math, but
I think you think math is for nerds, but stars are cool.
So yeah, go check that stuff out. For a hint at what we might be up to for episode 300. Over on the review show, we briefly mentioned earlier in the podcast, we covered Superman the movie, the 1978 Superman film by Richard Donner, starring, by Christopher Reeves. My brain just completely farted there. That's a fantastic one. We had a blast talking about it and how weirdly horny it is at times. So go check out our review of Superman the movie. And last but not least, if you still have yet to see it, we have a spoiler cast for Mission Impossible 8, The Final Reckoning. Good stuff over there. Last thing I will say, excuse me. The last thing I will say for housekeeping is that for our Patreon supporters, we have our RSS feeds all up there of the review show, the Captain's Log, and the Reactor Core. They are all up to date. They have our entire back catalog on them. There's even a master feed if you want everything, all of the shows that we do in a single feed that's out there. And it is the best and easiest way to get your episodes early from us. So there you go. That's our housekeeping for today. Let's see here. Do you want to do F1 or pop culture? Culture or F1?
I already have the Spaceballs trailer pulled up.
Okay, let's start with pop culture then. Spaceballs 2. It better be called The Search for More Money, because I think that's what they call it in the first movie.
It still fits. It's still very appropriate.
Yeah.
I was so shocked and delighted by this news. I've had a very exhausting week at work, and this gave me so much energy. It really gave me life. Can I read the text, the Star Wars-esque crawl of this trailer? Because
please.
It's perfect.
It's so
given me such a vote of confidence. 38 years ago, there was only one Star Wars trilogy, but since then, there have been a prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to the sequel, countless TV spinoffs, a movie spinoff of the TV spinoff, which is both a prequel and a sequel, not to mention 2 Dunes, 7 Jurassic Parks, 2 Avatars plus 3 upcoming Avatars, making 5 Avatars. 36 MCU movies with 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s. DCU attempt number 1, DCU attempt number 2, an animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King prequel, 8 Harry Potter movies, a TV series remaking the same 8 Harry Potter movies, a whole streaming service of Star Trek, 7 Alien movies, 2 of which were also Predator movies, not to be mistaken for the 6 Predator movies that are not also Alien movies, 1 Prometheus, which is kind of an Alien movie, 4 Beatles movies, and Oppenheimer. But in 38 years, there has only ever been 1 Spaceballs.
Haven't found the money until now.
This is so apt. This is exactly what we need. They came back at exactly the right time where everything has become so convoluted. And you and I love this stuff. We show up for all of that nonsense. We can tell everything apart. We're in it. We're knee deep in it. But we still know this is preposterous.
Right.
And for a Spaceballs to come back now after the ages of like the Lego sequels and the franchises, the soil is so rich. We're going to eat so good with Spaceballs 2. And the idea that this is very likely going to be Mel Brooks's final project, and the fact that his final project is something so silly could also not be more appropriate.
Right. Yeah. This is one I knew that they were working on, but it was kind of one of those things of like, it's so abstract that
everybody says this every 5 years. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they released this trailer, which is just the Star Wars text crawl of all of that stuff. I don't know if this was it was at the beginning or if it was a separate thing, but there was an interview of Mel Brooks kind of introducing that teaser. He is returning to play Yogurt once again.
Yes.
I know
President Scroob may be dead by now in the lore of the movie, but I am so excited for 100-year-old Yogurt. There's always that ancient character, but rarely is that ancient character played by literally 100-year-old man.
Good Lord. But then the thing that I think excited me the most is they also announced that Rick Moranis is returning, which is just incredible.
Wonderful.
Rick Moranis has, of course, taken a backseat, or his acting career has taken a backseat so that he could go help out and raise his family. It's one of those things where I feel mixed on, right? Like he's doing the right thing, but also I miss having him on screen and stuff like that. So for me to get him returning in Spaceballs is just like, oh yes, my heart, exactly what I needed.
It feels personal.
Yeah.
This time it's personal. We grew up with a lot of Rick Moranis. We all had our different varieties. I wasn't much of a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids person, but I was a big Little Shop of Horrors kid.
Sure,
We're both, you and I mentioned Spaceballs all the time. And finally, there is a reason for us to do a whole review show episode on Spaceballs.
Yeah,
I feel like we could talk about it for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
He's a big part of your life, Rick Moranis. He is here on this Father's Day. We celebrate all fathers, including Rick Moranis, your movie dad, and he's coming back. He's coming home.
Yeah. So good stuff with that. I hear Bill Pullman is returning as well.
Cool. Is Lewis Pullman gonna join?
Yes, they have announced it that he is joining too, which I didn't know until they announced it that's his kid. That Lewis Pullman is related to Bill. I just didn't know that stuff, so that was neat. There's some other casting in the hair that they announced, but to me, it's the like returning actors that are just like, oh yes, perfect. This is awesome.
Do we? In the absence of John Candy, do we have another Barf? Do we have Son of Barf?
We could.
I know Paul Walter Hauser is already playing somebody's son in the Naked Gun remake, but like, can you get him again?
Paul Walter Hauser would be great in Spaceballs 2. I could even see like a John Candy.
It's dead.
Oh no,
died.
Who am I talking about? Fuck.
I don't know. Give me a clue.
I don't know. Anyways, but
do I have to
the ghost of John Candy in here? All right.
Do I have to go through a list of every chubby male actor until we find the one you were thinking of?
John Goodman.
We don't go younger, we go older. We go father of Barf.
Uncle. Like
Uncle of Barf.
It's his brother or something like that.
Right. Yeah. We've had Uncle Buck, now it's time for Uncle Barf.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I can't wait. Mm-hmm. I'm going to skip down here and save what I have next on my notes for the last thing, because that'll be a good transition. But Gary Oldman has been knighted. He's Sir Gary Oldman now. Yeah. Cool. I just thought that was neat.
Nice, very nice. I don't know if any other knights are so well known for playing a curmudgeon who farts all the time, the way Gary Oldman does on Slow Horses.
Yeah.
He's our fartingest knight, I suppose. Do you ever think about future knights? I think about that a lot. In what way? Because when I think of like, oh, I like sci-fi cyberpunk stuff, it's like, oh yeah, future knights could be really cool in this setting. But no, I don't think of like who will be like God, Spider-Man actor Tom. That's going with, do we see like Tom Holland in the next 30 years? Do they knight Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield at the same ceremony, and we have two Sir Spider-Men, and Toby just like can't be invited? He has to stand outside.
I don't know. Yeah, that's so weird to me. I don't know. Will we ever see a fictional character become knighted down the road?
Like just Sherlock Holmes, the fictional person, not
or
Benedict
like
Cumberbatch.
Bluey, the dog, right?
Lady Dame Bluey. Sir Paddington?
Right, yes! Sir Paddington!
Wow.
Anyways.
Sir Ben Whishaw. I think about this a lot. I think it's fun. I can't wait until we get a Sir Lewis Hamilton. That feels... We could get that in the next 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, congratulations to Gary Oldman, who has now been knighted. Next up, DC Comics announced a Mr. Miracle animated show. This is based on Tom King's run of the comics. I have the hardcover of that back behind me. I love the art on that. Mitch Gerard does an incredible job on the art. But Tom King is supposedly the showrunner and will be executive producing.
Love Tom King.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this one.
Contextualize Mr. Miracle for me, please. I've heard that name, but I don't have anything to pin to it.
Yeah, so the comics context, when Jack Kirby left Marvel to go to DC Comics, he created what has now been called the Fourth World. He created the New Gods. He created Apocalypse, all of that stuff. And in the kind of section of the DC universe where the New Gods are and Darkseid, he did something kind of interesting where, to broker a peace between these two sets of characters, think the Marvel equivalent would be like the Norse gods and stuff up there in like Asgard. And to broker a peace between the All-Father and Darkseid, they traded sons. They traded their kids. So Darkseid's kid got to grow up with all these gods, and then the All-Father's kid basically got to grow up in hell. All of that stuff. But that kid, the one that grew up in hell with Darkseid, he's not in actual hell, but he's on Apocalypse. His name is Scott Free. And his power is he's a good escape artist. Like, he's just insanely good at escaping stuff. And so while he is trapped and tortured in Apocalypse, he's just constantly escaping and all of that stuff. And he eventually escapes and goes to Earth. And he ends up marrying one of Darkseid's like main warriors who also kind of escaped. Her name is Big Barda, and she's incredible. If you want big, super tall, hot muscle mommy, this is her. She is
wonderful.
Much like Scott Free is not a short king, but standing next to her looks like one. Yeah, and they've been members of the Justice League and so on and so forth. But in this Tom King run, they are kind of dealing with like being new parents, as well as the struggles of domestic life, while also trying to stop a world-ending event. Of just like, how are we gonna find a babysitter? How are we gonna, like, it's like there's some really interesting stuff in there that I think is a lot of fun. If you've heard the name Granny Goodness, that comes out of this whole Fourth World stuff. I think this will be one that'll be a lot of fun, an interesting one for sure. So, good stuff. That also another animated show that has been announced. There is a spin-off to Steven Universe entitled Lars of the Stars.
I remember Lars.
Will be coming to Amazon. Yeah, he's a character in the show. He starts out as like an employee at a donut shop or wherever.
Donut. Big donut.
And
get coffee or tea. Napkins are always free. I remember very little about Steven Universe anymore, but that's most of it.
Good. Because, yeah, by the end of that show, he becomes a space pirate. So this is a spin-off show following him and what he's up to as he is smuggling contraband up to space pirate stuff and discovering the secrets of the gem world that's out there. But it's interesting that it's coming to Amazon, despite it being a Cartoon Network show, and I guess all of that stuff being owned by Warner Brothers and Discovery, which I didn't even put on here, but they're splitting. There's something happening with that, and I haven't looked much into that yet.
So one of them is going to do just studio and streaming, and one of them's just going to do like cable TV networks.
Yeah, I don't understand. But yeah, strange that that's not being made for HBO Max. But I'm excited nonetheless. Next up, some casting announcements. Mia Goth joins Ryan Gosling in Star Wars Starfighter. I think that's a good fit for her.
Do you think she'll be a human, or are they going to make her up? Is she going to be an alien?
I think I feel like the obvious answer is she'll be an alien. So then I'm wondering if they're gonna change it up and have her be a human. I think she'd make a great alien, though.
Right, we've seen firsthand how skilled she is as a prosthetics performer, but also maybe she's like, I'm done. I did my time. I just want to walk out as myself, please.
Right. Yeah. And then Emily Hampshire, you guys might know from Schitt's Creek. She's the one that owns the hotel there. She has been cast as Edith in Marvel's Vision. Edith, of course, is an acronym from Tony Stark. Even in death, I'm the hero. And we got to hear the voice of Edith in one of the Spider-Man movies, but I don't know if that was an actual act or if they just like licensed like a voice thing.
They're always somebody.
Yeah, I'm not sure who played it in that, but they are. They've cast Emily Hampshire, so I don't know if that's going to be a voice performance or if she will be showing up physically. Like, do we get a physical version of that in the show?
Did you just stop typing, or did they change the name? Is the show no longer Vision Quest? Is it just Vision?
They've changed the name.
Okay.
I think we mentioned that a while back, but I don't remember. Vision Quest changed name to just Vision ? Actually, I don't know. I'm not necessarily seeing anything on it, but maybe they were just using that as shorthand, because I'm pretty sure the article just calls it Vision. Anyways, yeah. So things to look out for in that. Last but not least, I got a great announcement this past week and a half ago, I think now. Melissa, the Street Sharks are back. There's a new comic for the Street Sharks coming from IDW. I couldn't be more excited. I'm going to be picking this one up.
They've never left.
They haven't. They're on my back desk back there. You can't see it really because it's all blurry, but they're back there. I'm super stoked. So there you go. That's our pop culture lightning round for this episode. Let's talk about some Formula One for a quick second here.
So they put out a trailer for the Formula One movie, which is coming to theaters, but is produced by Apple. and do you have it's haptic? So the trailer it buzzes at you. What does it do?
So that would be my question, that you don't have an iPhone.
No.
Do you? So yeah, it has haptics. It vibrates, but the phone can vibrate at different like levels of intensity and side to side. So as he's like hitting buttons on the thing, you feel it as you feel the engine rev up, and it like goes up and down and he turns. It's kind of incredible to experience this. If you don't have, like, you find someone you know that has an iPhone and watch.
I'll make my dad
the trailer.
Give me his phone like I'm a little child.
Yes.
And he has to give me a game to keep me entertained.
Exactly. It is worth it just to watch this trailer because it's kind of neat. It's really cool. And if they can make this work on all kinds of phones, I think this might be a new marketing thing that starts happening, especially on like big action. It's like the 4DX, but a trailer. Yes. It's exactly that. Yeah.
I've not gotten F1 tickets yet just because I'm still trying to decide in what format I want to see it. Like, I think I'm going IMAX, but also there's 4DX. The one time I went to our local 4DX theater, it wasn't really calibrated right. And I went to see Gran Turismo, and it would just start vibrating while he's having dinner with his parents.
The steak was really good, though.
Ginger Spice knows how to cook. That's the spice you feel. But I'll try it again.
Yeah.
I love this idea. I want something that's like 4DX, but it's like a suit I put on.
Right? I
mean, a weighted blanket, but a vibration blanket.
I think that stuff might be out there. It's just super expensive and not accessible to most people. But I think that stuff exists. I feel like it does, right? But that would be fun. Like, you go to the movie theater, you get your big laser tag vest that you have to put on, right?
I know it exists for like medical and neurological reasons. There's like the hug shirts and things.
Sure.
I know cows have them, and I think humans also have them.
Yeah.
But I do want one that can be hooked up to a movie.
It's just the like I don't even know what you call them, what the actual name for them is, but the thing where it like ties your arms up so you can't
straight jacket.
Yeah, straight jacket like that, but for a movie.
Just put me in like a robot suit and like you move me around, and that's how I want to watch a film.
Indeed. Yeah, so go check out that trailer because it's fantastic. But let's see. So the race that is happening today is the Canadian Grand Prix. Should be happening in a handful of minutes, in an hour from now. So that's super exciting. But the previous race from a couple weeks ago was the race in Spain, was the Spanish Grand Prix. Oscar was the one that came in first, Lando in second, Charles in third. I thought the race was kind of boring through most of it, but the last 6 laps were so exciting. Were just incredible.
Got spicy.
Yeah. Did you get to see any of the highlights?
I did see this one. No, I was able to watch the whole thing.
Awesome. Yeah. That is part of the excitement of an F1 race, is you never know exactly when things will pop off. And yeah, those last 6 laps were fantastic. Kimi Antonelli had a crash that brought out a safety car. So a bunch of people tried to, cash in on a free pit stop to change their tires. Max Verstappen was like, "Hey, give me some fresh rubbers."
Max being so mad and so confused about the tires, and then you just hear James Horner sheepishly being like, "Those are hard tires, Max."
So
idea what they put on his car until he starts driving, right? And he's like, I hate this.
Apparently they only had two options. It was like to use some other like really worn out tire that probably wouldn't be good, or use a brand new tire, but it's their hardest compound, which means it takes forever for it to heat up and get to the right temperature. But there's only 6 laps left, right? Like, so right. He's out there and he notices like, I have no grip. What did you give me? And he was like, well, you asked for new tires and our only option was the hard one. Like, we kind of told you this, but look, man, this is what you wanted. He's like, no, this is not what I wanted. What kind? Like, no.
I was trying to explain to a friend who has no idea what any of this is about how exciting the different kinds of tires are. You would not believe tire strategy.
Yeah, and I think this is a great example of really being able to see that strategy in play when they make a bad call of like, he obviously has no grip. He's sliding. He almost like spun out. He hits Charles. He ends up hitting George, right? Like, things just go absolutely crazy for him, and he's upset. He's mad. He's yelling.
Right.
He gets a penalty that knocked him down, I think, to 10th. But at the same time, Nico Hulkenberg like finishes in 6th by passing Lewis Hamilton in a car that most, I think, would say is the worst on the grid. So it's just like, Nico Hulkenberg, amazing. Wow. What are you doing? This is incredible.
This is what I really like about this sport, is that there's so many things that you feel like are so constant and predictable, and yes, of course it will go this way. You always see these names in these places, and then something weird will happen and there will be a person who's an absolute surprise in some place you don't expect them.
So those last 6 laps were incredible. Have not gotten to watch anything from the Canadian Grand Prix yet, but I think Oscar and George were 1st and 2nd, I believe.
George got pole. Apparently it's his first pole of the season. Good for George.
There you go. Yeah, good stuff. And then F1 Academy is also happening this weekend. They're having 3 races instead of their normal 2, because last time when they were in Miami, they had one of the races postponed. And so I know they've finished up. But yeah.
Next year, St. Louis is getting a new sports bar concept. There's one of these open in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And it did so well, they're opening up like 4 more across the country, and we get to be one of them.
Nice.
It is a sports bar that only plays women's sports, and it is called the Sports Bra.
I've heard about this. Yeah.
And I read it in the local news, and they'd put out a correction. No, we didn't spell that wrong. That's it. Don't you get the joke? It's called the Sports Bra. But I'm excited to see some ladies racing cars there. I really hope we get a woman on the grid next year, and then I get to see all of the main F1 races at a big sports bar. Thank you.
Probably won't, unfortunately. But it's probably going to take some time, unfortunately, before we truly see a woman on the grid. But you also never really know, because there is a new team coming on the grid, and we don't know who their drivers are yet. So they could certainly make a splash by being like, and we have a woman on the grid. But in terms of candidates of who that might be, I think right now there's not many choices who would be eligible.
I couldn't name one, but also I'm new to this, and I know that there is women's racing, and I haven't watched it yet. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, and there are women in a bunch of other like racing categories, but on top of all of that, to even qualify for F1, you have to have a certain number of like super license points, and you can get them in a variety of different ways. Yeah, but it's like once you hit a certain number of them, then you are supposedly qualified
Right.
for this
then
thing.
You
so
get your multi-pass like from the Fifth Element.
Sure, yeah. But I don't know how many women are even eligible for all that.
Last week I watched 3 different kinds of race car.
Okay.
I think my dad has really started to relish that I will now watch race car with him.
Okay.
So we watched the whole formula. We caught up on the Spanish Grand Prix last weekend. We watched some of the Red Bull soapbox derby race where they make their own cars out of stuff, and they just like their teammates
Go
push
downhill.
them and they just like roll down a dirt course.
Yeah.
And then we watched some drag racing, which is where you just go in one straight line as fast as you can. And apparently, Dad says there's a number of women in that. So
yeah.
I didn't see any, but he told me they were there.
That's fun. Yeah, I think the last race, that last F1 race, at the same time was the Indy 500. Which I don't know if you saw anything. I might have to send you a link. They had the Wienermobile races.
Wow.
They raced like 6 or 7 of the like big giant Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles. It was obviously a stunt and was acting, but it was still just hilarious. Too many wiener jokes, bun jokes from the announcers. Just incredible stuff. I loved it. Yeah.
I did not see that, but I did see like the first hour of the Indy 500, and it was colder that day than it typically is, and nobody could adjust. And I think in the first hour there were like 8 crashes.
Yeah.
I think everyone was fine, so it was not literally a bloodbath, but wow, nobody could handle that thing. There's a guy who crashed on like the warm-up round.
Yes.
Poor guy.
You will see
crying
that
in
happen.
the grass.
Yeah, that has happened plenty of times. Yeah, which is it. Because I heard that too, and I heard that whatever cable network or whatnot that was covering it didn't really understand how to cover it exactly in such great lengths. Like for a lot of races, since it doesn't stop, you can't do a commercial break per se.
Yes.
So they used the formation lap as a commercial break, but that's where the guy crashed, and so they come back and are like, what's happening, like what's going on? Is it, just like if you didn't do the stupid ad, like you would know.
Right. So I watched the pre-show, and they talk about these are the guys who we think could really win the Indy 500 this year, and then at the end of the day it was none of those guys. It was a guy they didn't mention.
Yeah. Interesting. And then this weekend was the 24 hours of Le Mans, which I think wrapped up this morning, if I'm not mistaken, or late last night. I think the guy that won was in a Ferrari, and I heard something about like he was set to drive for Ferrari in 2012, but had a bad accident in a rally car and couldn't. And so here he is now making his debut, and he won. So
good.
Just good fun stuff.
Do you get like a big pancake breakfast after Le Mans?
I have no idea.
Or,
I don't like
croissant breakfast. It is
outside of Formula One. I really don't know anything about motorsport.
I'm
hear
learning
bits
a little
and pieces, but yeah,
I'm not picking up a ton of information. I think I've just regressed to some deep childhood part of me that's like, vroom vroom, car go fast.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. That is it for our Formula One corner. Next up on the Captain's Log is our trivia episode, our annual trivia episode. I'm so excited. I have been doing something this past year that I think will make my trivia questions pretty good. Ooh. I started writing my trivia questions the moment after last year's trivia. I've been keeping my notes of like, ooh, I should make a question about that thing or that fact that I learned.
I've got 2 pre-written. I still have to make the rest of them.
Yeah. So that will be what we do for this next episode. It is one of our favorites of the year. If everything goes according to plan, we'll try and get Ignacio back on the show with us as he typically joins us for that episode. If not, it'll just be Melissa and I. We typically do 10 questions each. I might bump it up a little bit, be like, let's do 12 each or something like that. We'll see. But yeah, that is something exciting to look forward to for next episode.
I would love if you gave me a visual question this year.
Okay.
Give me a lineup. Question. Give me a lineup of 5 guys and ask me to name which one of them is Tom King.
Okay.
Because I realized for all of these guys that we talk about a lot, I've never seen Jeff Lemire. Would I know him? You've seen a bunch of pictures?
You have seen drawings of him in some of the comics we've read.
Right. Will I recognize somebody from a drawing or like a tiny author photo at the back of a graphic novel? We'll see.
That's really funny. I could do something like that. I might see if I can give you like the thing where you like draw the lines to match each one. Like, this is Tom King, that is Jeff Lemire, that is Kelly Sudaconic, that is right. Yeah,
right. That's Kieran
Elsa
Gillen.
Chartier. Yeah, that's Kieran Gillen. Here's all the comic book creators we've had. Can you name which one is which?
You have to put Stanley in there as a gimme.
Right, yeah. Here's the control.
It's like if you get points on your SAT for just writing down your name.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. That's funny. Yeah, I'll think of something like that. I think that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's all I got for right now. Do you have any other kind of final things you want to say before we wrap up here?
Oh, boy. No. You and I got trip planning to do. Superman tickets just went on sale.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to talk about that once we get off air here. But yeah, let's wrap things up for this podcast right there. Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on an email. You can email me at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com.
There you go. Good stuff. If you guys want to follow me, I am at YoKyleSpringer. If you guys would like to stay up to date with everything that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at thewhatnauts.com on Blue Sky. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. Go check out more of our videos on that side of the screen. That would help us out as well. Please go like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. This has been number 298 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.